Some crimes are nonviolent, but not victimless. Welcome to First Fridays with the FBI. Today's show is a brief reminder that tax fraud and other financial crimes are real and the fight against them are relevant. Today's guest is Supervisory Special Agent Sam Waldron from the El Paso Field Office of the FBI. Welcome, Supervisory Special Agent Sam Waldron. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and why you're talking to us today about financial crimes and tax fraud.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here with you. As you mentioned, I'm Supervisory Special Agent Sam Waldron with the FBI. I oversee a group of agents and forensic accountants who investigate complex financial crimes, which include tax-related matters, financial crimes and intellectual property, and also healthcare fraud. And we also handle a little bit of money laundering. By way of background, I'm a CPA as well, and I still have a current license.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on today for First Fridays with the FBI to tell us about this. And this is the kind of a perfect time, seeing that it's tax season. So it was one of the topics that was requested to a while ago. But can you tell us, I guess, about the relationship the FBI has with the IRS?
Yeah, the IRS and the FBI work closely on a lot of matters. We consider them a very important partnership that we have in order to help move different investigations forward. They have certain expertise, and we also have different expertise, and we balance each other out in certain matters. So we definitely work with them in tax fraud cases and also other financial crime cases, money laundering, and we consider them a very important partnership that we have.
Okay. So what types of tax fraud does the FBI investigate, and how is it determined when the FBI does get involved?
Right. There's a variety of different areas that the FBI kind of focuses on related to tax. A lot of the information or allegations that we receive may relate to individuals being defrauded by fraudsters, maybe filing false tax returns, things of that nature. We also receive information regarding individuals who are evading taxes. And when we receive said information, a lot of times we'll work that with the IRS due to their focus and expertise on tax-related matters. We also focus and have an area related to kind of cyber criminals. And cyber criminals often will steal information such as social security numbers or date of births for individuals, and that may lead to big data breaches. And so we focus on the cyber aspect of it, but as a result, they may do a variety of different crimes with the information stolen, such as filing false tax returns on behalf of the individual without them even knowing. So it could go into a variety of different crimes as a result of those data breaches that we kind of look at.
Okay. Well, another question that came from our community, and it's often talked about, especially around tax time, and someone did ask the question, what can be done if someone uses your child's social security number to claim them as a dependent when filing taxes? Like, I'm not sure if it happens a lot, but I do know it happens. So can you tell us about that?
Right, that's a great question. And there's a few different ways sometimes people learn about how that happens. Sometimes they may get a letter in the mail from the IRS saying, hey, your dependent is being claimed on more than one tax return. If the person does receive a letter in the mail from the IRS, they give specific instructions on what they should do in order to address and handle that situation. Other instances you may be aware or find out is when you're trying to file your taxes and you're doing it electronically, and all of a sudden it says, sorry, you cannot file electronically because your dependent is being claimed on more than one tax return. In those instances, same thing on irs.gov, there's specific guidance on what can be done. It is requested from the IRS anyways on their website that you still should file a tax return, and that can be done by mailing it in, a paper copy. And if you have specific instances outside of that, such as divorce and there's multiple parents claiming it, you can also contact your tax expert on specific situations that may come up. And the IRS typically has offices. They have one in El Paso, Texas, that you can visit for further questions in person.
Right. Okay, so another crime that most of us are really frustrated about, I know I am, because I get the calls often, no matter how much I put my name on the do not call list, but the IRS impersonation scams, and it seems to be widespread, and the calls are nonstop. So what is that? What's going on with it, and what can be done about it, I guess?
Right, that's a great question. I think a lot of people are in the same boat, and they've been affected or had an interaction with someone, some scammer trying to be claiming they're from the IRS or something similar. And we a lot of times do see an uptick in this during tax time season. However, it does happen year round. And unfortunately, a lot of times it seems like they focus on vulnerable populations, maybe elderly or those that don't have a clear understanding of the rules of in the tax laws in the United States. So there's a few notes on how to be aware of these when they are scams and kind of what we can be done. First is the IRS typically, if they are requesting or stating that you owe taxes or owe money, the first notification usually will come through mail. And so if you are not aware that you owe any taxes and you file your tax returns like most people on a normal routine, and you receive a call from an unknown individual claiming they're from the IRS and you need to pay your taxes or you're going to be arrested, I can almost guarantee that's going to be a scam. The IRS will not, in most instances, contact you on that first time, and they're not going to threaten you the first time saying you're going to jail or you pay the taxes right now. And a lot of times on those scams, they request payment immediately, and they request it in different methods than what the IRS normally would, such as, hey, go get some prepaid cards and you can send me the numbers, give me your debit or credit card, or transfer some a wire transfer. That's not typically how the IRS works. So when you do receive those, and that's the first time and it's threatening, it's kind of scary because they might threaten that you're going to jail, you're going to get deported, you're going to lose your business, whatever it is. It's usually always a scam. And another thing that scammers can do is they can call and make it appear like they're calling from the IRS, or they're calling from the bank, or they're calling from some legitimate place, because that's what the caller ID says. And we call that a phone call or a spoof, which is just appearing to come from one place, but it's really not. So just be cognizant that just because they say, no, look at your phone number, Google it, that's from the IRS, that doesn't actually mean that it's coming from the IRS. So in those instances, not only for these IRS scams, but anyone that's calling and trying to get information from you, such as your social or your date of birth, just be very cautious on giving any information out over the phone, especially if it's something that's new to you that you've never heard of before. Because a lot of times those are going to be scammers trying to take advantage of you, take your information, and just get your money from you.
But obviously with you there, so some of these people, are they getting caught, when it comes to these scams?
Yes, and if an individual has or feels like they've been a part of a scam, or they've been taken advantage of, we take those crimes and all financial crimes very seriously. And so a great way for us to be able to address those is to know that it's a problem. And so if people aren't reporting it, then a lot of times we can't track those trends and address those issues that are going on. So we encourage anyone that feels like they've been a part of a scam, you can report that information to the FBI at ic3.gov. You can also report it to the IRS at irs.gov, or they have local offices that you can file those reports at, so we can further address. But yes, we take those very seriously, and we handle them as deemed appropriate.
Okay. Is there a statute of limitations on crimes involving tax fraud?
Yes. So typically there are two different avenues in which violations relating to taxes are handled. There may be civil and there may be criminal. Criminal, usually depending on what exactly the individual law or that they broke, is about 5 or 6 years is the typical amount. Civil, I won't give a specific, but it could be similar. It just depends on exactly what they did incorrectly, on how long that statute may last.
So locally, of course, we like to be informed. So are there any local public cases that involve tax fraud here on the border? I would think maybe personally that wouldn't be available to the public, but maybe business or.
Yeah, it's an interesting question that I'm sure a lot of people, like you said, are interested in. I can't speak to specifics. I can't speak that there are investigations or are not. I will say that yes, we receive information often regarding individuals that are either evading or not paying taxes, or individuals that have been victim of some sort of scam related to tax or financial matters. And if we do receive that information, and we just want to make it clear that if we identify those subjects, and maybe they are in a different country or wherever they may be, we still have capabilities to take care of wherever the fraudsters are. There's a lot of opportunities still to catch and to locate them, even if they're not within the United States.
Okay. Well, I know you could go on and on and on to talk about the many, what did you call them, complex financial crimes. So we definitely want to have you back for some of those other topics also. But is there any other additional information that you'd like to share regarding tax fraud?
In conclusion, I would just give a couple points. The first is everyone has a degree of risk of being defrauded, because everyone, for the most part, has some personal identifying information: name, social, date of birth. And those are the things that are very valuable in order to take that, and to become a victim of a scam. So I just caution people on providing that to individuals, especially if they're calling you over the phone, and to help with if you have kids or other individuals that are younger. Usually not a lot happens with their social security numbers, but just to continuously check to make sure and monitor to make sure nothing fraudulently or suspicious is happening with yours or your family members' personal identifying information. And that will help you, if something ever does come up, to take care of it quickly, rather than it drag on for an extended period of time and the consequences might be greater. So just be very careful and cognizant of that information that you are providing to others, and that will help you to mitigate the potential risk of being a victim of a scam. And like I mentioned before, if you ever feel like there's information you would like to provide to the FBI, we are always happy to look into it further related to any illegal activity. But since we're talking about financial crimes and tax information, that can be done in person, via telephone, or ic3.gov.
Okay. And we will put that information up for everyone who's watching. I want to thank you for coming by to speak with us. Well, online, to speak with us about tax fraud, because it is important, and we hate to see people get taken advantage of. So we appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for joining us. First Fridays with the FBI is a TV program encouraging situational awareness to assist the public with being aware about preventing acts of domestic and international violence. This podcast and show is not endorsed by the FBI or any other governmental entity. It was created by a citizen for the community to support the efforts of the nation's leading law enforcement agency and to educate the community on how to prevent and report crimes. You can follow us on social media at First Fridays FBI, and you can follow me personally at Midlife Mocha.